Hello everyone, Kay with Zuna. Now, what I have here are three different charts with volume weighted average prices. This is the one on the left is the daily volume weighted average price, which is this line here, and the bands. Okay, first and second. Let me show you the inputs. There's a begin time, so I have it set to 1 minute. It's on ES. I have it set to 1 minute, and I'm on the East Coast, and my chart is set to regular trading hours or the pit session or the cash session, however you want to label that. So I have it set to 9:31. Reason for that is the first bar of the day. If you hover over that with your pointer and look at the close time, it'll say 9:31. Okay, Tradestation plots the close of the bars, not the open. So we have to, that's how, if you're programming it, that you have to tell it 9:31, otherwise it won't recognize 9:30 as the first bar. So once you put that in, then the indicator will take care of everything. Then you have your plots. This is your first standard deviation, second and third above volume weighted average price, and first, second, and third below it. I'm only showing the first and the second above and below. And then these are your standard deviation numbers to use, and which you can change to your preference. Next, the style, which is fairly simple. Colors for the bands are controlled through here. Color for the weighted average price are controlled through here. So the most important thing is, or is what most people ask me, and there's a notation here that you could read: enter time, begin time, must correspond, etc. So you could read that. But what a lot of people ask me is about this. I want to make sure you guys understand that whatever your chart tells you as the first bar of your session is in terms of the time, that's what you would plot in here. So you would just type that in here. Now keep these inputs in mind, for they're relevant to the other charts we're going to talk about. So this is the daily, this is the weekly. The weekly will instead of recalculating every single day, it will continuously plot one for 1 week. So it'll start the first day of the week and it'll end at the last day of the week. Okay. Now in contrast, let me show you the daily. As you can see, the daily does it for each single day independently. It'll start at the first. Okay. And this is the monthly, which will do a whole month, approximately 20 trading days. Okay, this is March. We're not finished with March yet, but so what you would do, I have it on a 5-minute chart for the monthly, just because 1 minute would take a long time to calculate. But if you a long time, for me a long time is 2 or 3 minutes, etc. It would take, the first time you plot it, it would take about 2 or 3 minutes for your PC to calculate. If I put this on my other PC, which is a lot faster, it'll do it much faster, but on this one it'll take about a couple minutes. Well, once it's loaded, then it doesn't, for each additional day that is added, it doesn't really use much resource. It's just computing the whole month will take some time, a couple of minutes. Now I have it on a 5-minute chart here, and since I have it on a 5-minute chart, my first interval that's of the month is going to correspond with 9:35. So on the begin time, I have 9:35 entered instead of 9:31. As you recall, on the 1 minute we had 9:31. Now on the weekly, I have it on a 3-minute, and on the 3-minute it's plotted as the begin time corresponds with 9:33, as that being the first bar of the beginning of the volume weighted average price and bands. Now the interesting about if you plot this on a 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, the weekly that is, or the monthly or the daily, or 10 or 15-minute, the values, the differences between the values are almost they're so small that it doesn't really make a difference. For example, if I switch this to a 15-minute chart, it'll say 1164 instead of 1164.30, it would say 1164 point, for example, 11 or 0.25 or etc. or 54. it will not even change by 1 point. It might change by several ticks on ES. So you can really plot it on any interval that you want. Now the reason I have these on low intervals because you can use these for day trading, and you can use the monthly and the weekly for swing trading. So what traders normally use this indicator as, or well, I won't say normally, but what's popular is that they're using these bands, okay, these different levels as support and resistance, taking trades against them. For example, we fail the first band, we come back up to it, and we can't close above it. So on the close below it, you would short, then you would buy this, then short again, etc. Just continuing on and on. Okay, here, here. So this is the daily version, and I have them on different colors, so I know which one is daily, which one's the monthly. Here's another one. Okay, so you can see how these bands are relevant. One thing I wanted to mention, since these type of indicators begin in the beginning of the day and start calculating, or if you're using the weekly one, they start the beginning of the week, monthly beginning of the month. The first, for the daily, the first, especially if you're trading something that's traded in a pit, the first half an hour to an hour, you should really let the indicator plot. So you understand, so it has some time to give you some information as what the volume weighted average price is going to look like for today. Then you can begin to use the levels as your support and resistance areas to take trades off of. So for example, on ES, if you start taking trades off of the levels prior to, let's say, 10 o'clock, it's really useless because we don't have enough information. Now, if ES opens up and it's pretty much flatlining for 30 minutes, then that's a different story, and the levels could be used. Now, let me show you the weekly chart. Well, let's go to the monthly chart. The same principle I mentioned is true for the monthly. So the first day of the month, you shouldn't really count too much on the levels. Now notice how price is operating above the volume weighted average price. Okay, and then once it starts to get going, it's operating between the first and the second. So what happens is you can use the first and the second channels as channels. I mean the first and second bands as channels. Sell the tops, buy the bottoms, so to speak. Another thing you can use this for day trading. You can use this for swing trading. So if you're swing trading, you can add fibs, or you can add pivots, weekly, monthly pivots as well to this indicator. You can see how nicely these are respected, these levels. Okay, there's a little bit more data for you. The weekly is great. It's just great for having areas every day that you're going to pay attention to and take trades off of. See how we bounced off of here, continued higher. There's a short up here, then a bounce up. It's continuously, these levels are respected, and you can add your own filters to them, but just giving you some ideas. Shorting here. Okay. Bounce off here, we retest it again. Here, 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 here. If you're not a day trader and you're more of an end of day trader, you can you trade, let's say at the end of the day you like to take a look at the market to see anything has set up. You can use these indicators, the weekly and the monthly. Just do some research and see the patterns so you understand how the indicator works. Now these three indicators can be used on futures and stocks as they have volume. These same three indicators, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly volume weighted average price, are available on Forex as well. So we do have them on Forex. You rarely will see them on Forex or anybody having them, but we do have all three available on Forex as well on our website. Okay, thanks for watching.